Were the issues with the contractor about the Country Lane Basin resolved to satisfaction?
I mean, it is. It is.
Yeah, but we don't want to cut them the check until it's done. It's done.
Well, there's. changes on top.
Oh, did you get the one with my date?
I did, yeah, I put on that. No, no worries at all. I was
I
just
was like,
glad
oh, I got
caught
it. Somebody actually, a friend of mine, like, she pointed out, so like, you got the wrong date.
I was just glad I caught it because I probably wouldn't have this one either, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, hey, how you?
I'm gonna move that big thing of Purell out of the way.
Anyone that ever.
Anybody need Purell before I move it down here? You good? Yeah? Want some?
I do.
Working?
And winter time.
You can't, right, you can't talk about it, right.
The one.
I know what to say to you.
I love my little left, the little baby.
Did you get anything from your spring thing? The libraries, I knew.
We're getting your dates.
I'm not doing it.
But why am I here?
She said,
See, it's like a bad.
yeah. So I hear that.
So I sent it.
I'm not really
Right.
Evidently that that's some.
And then that last is more than that. But 5,000 over. And that's. But it's just, they opened it up. That was the.
Hey, I'm gonna go out and do.
I think that's okay. That's what I think.
That's what I'm sure.
I love that.
Call to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Good evening. Borough manager, I'll have you take the roll call.
Council Vice President, Bernice Clark Dickerson. Counselor Douglas Seeger. Here. Counselor Beth Ann Johnson.
Here.
Counselor Michelle Miller.
Here.
Council President Shante Miller.
Present.
Counselor Michelle Roberts.
Present.
Counselor Walter Stubbs.
Here.
The Honorable Mayor Amanda Hammock.
Present.
Anything?
All right, we do not have any announcements, presentations this evening.
It's recording it, but
I think that was on this.
We're gonna move right into committee reports, starting with public facilities and infrastructure, Council Beth Ann M. Johnson.
Thank you.
Sorry, I apologize. One moment.
Oh,
Public comment.
comment on action item. Want to go before you go? Yeah, you go.
Mr. Hefner, you can proceed.
Action.
Bill Hefner, 571 South Old Middletown Road, median PA 19063. I own several good properties here in Morton. I do have a few questions on the agenda. The first question is on the license fees and schedule. It appears that there's a discussion and then a vote at the very end of the meeting. Is that going to occur? That's my first question, because then there's those time for the public comment on what your fees are going to be. And then the same thing is you have a website selection cost approval, and that's also at the end of the meeting. And I don't think the public has any opportunity to make comments either way on that.
You can make a comment right now.
I don't know what's involved or on what you're doing. I think it would be, unless you want to spend time to explain the, what we're doing with the license fees and stuff for the community, and then the website selection approval. I'd be happy to listen to what you want to do now.
Madam President, you want me to give a brief explanation?
Sure.
Mr. Hefner, as you had, the last meeting that we had, we provided a chart, which is a comparison of our current license fee schedule versus the surrounding municipalities. And for the pleasure of council, we were asked to put a resolution together to basically look at those current fees that we charge and make a modest increase so that we would sort of level up to where our surrounding municipalities are. So the building permit fee currently is at $25 per 1,000 of the job plus $100 review fee. Some people call it 2.5%. My recommendation to council would be is that we would increase that to $30 per 1,000. On the commercial side, currently we charge $40 per 1,000 plus a review fee. I would make a recommendation to council that we'd up that to $45 per 1,000. Currently, our UNO residential inspection is $75. We would up that by $25 to $100. The re-inspection fee is $50. I would recommend we up that to $100. The UNO commercial is $100. I would recommend we up that to $125.
Mr. Hefner, this
Mr.
is
Hefner,
available
it's in
to
the
you.
back of the package if you wanted
It's
to.
the fourth
I
from last
was
page.
looking at it here, on the one I got from today.
Oh, there it is.
I didn't go through the package yet.
Okay,
So
well,
the UNO
provide it to you.
commercial
in the back.
re-inspect, we would take from $100 to $125. The rental inspection, that covers both residential and commercial. Currently, we're at 75. I would recommend we up it to 100. The re-inspection is currently at 50. I would recommend we up it to 100. And the contractor license fee, currently we charge $60 annually, which would be from January 1st to December 31st. I would recommend that we up that to $100 annually. However, if a contractor comes in the last 6 months, we would drop that down to $50 for anything after 7/1.
What type of increase do you expect in revenue with these changes?
We're going from a 2.5 to a 3, so about a 0.5% increase across the board for all of our.
Well,
You know.
what would that be in dollars?
Give me a second.
We don't wanna, but we'll get back to you on your question. We'll make sure we have an adequate answer for you.
Mr. Hefner, the website proposals are the last page of your packet.
Again, I have the package. I also see the thing about the website. Is it possible to get this on the, this information that you're going to discuss the day before with the agenda items? Instead of having it, 10 minutes before the
I
meeting?
mean, if you stop in to the, for hall and you ask if they have something available, they'll provide it.
Okay, because I requested the, this document, but I didn't get the, updated dollars.
You just asked today.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Saletti?
Madam President, with those fees, it's probably between $1,000 and $1,500 in extra revenue per year.
Thank you. It may be more than that, but you just asked, so we gotta calculate it.
I'm sure. So,
Okay.
Hi, I'm still Michael Coletti. I still live at 701 Country Lane, Morton, Pennsylvania, 19070. My question is similar to Mr. Hefner's. The UNO residential jumps back from 75 to 100. As you well know, a property owner that's not a landlord may never see that increase, because they might die before they sell that house. Because that's when that happens, right? On the sale of that house. But those of us that are landlords, we do this every single year. Is there a way that you could separate the two and do non-landlords jump to the 100 and landlords still stay at 75?
So it's based on the cost to the borough. The borough has to pay for the engineers department or to inspect and do these permit reviews.
And that's your choice to do, us landlords, every single year. Which again, the property owners that are not renting to anybody only have that burden when they sell, if and when they sell. So are you saying that the Catania Engineering is charging more money for Dave and the other inspectors to inspect? Is that what you're saying? That's what you said the cost was.
I mean, costs go up.
I get that. They go up for all of us. And I'm not selling my property. And I get that it's always been that way, and I've always paid it every year, and I've always had the inspection every year, and I've never had a lick of controversy. I get told that my property is one of the best on the street. I'm just saying. I don't know why you gotta dig into our pockets too, because you get ours every single year. You only get the other ones if and when they sell. I think that's a reasonable request. You can look at me like that all you want. I'm still
not
thinking
looking
it's a
at you like any-
reasonable request.
Thank you for your comment. I'm not looking at you like.
I mean, a lot of landlords have increased their rent though, Mr. Galletti. I mean, do you keep your rent the same you've had it for 10 years? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, where's the backlash that I get? Yes, I do increase rent minimally because when you have a good tenant, you want to keep the good tenant. So I'm absolutely positively priced under market. So my good tenants stay. I know there's people on my street charging $1,700 for the 2-bedroom, 1.5 batch. I get $1,240. I'm way under market. So
I just think the point that.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time. And again, that is by choice that you keep it way under market. So think about what you just said, right?
well, it wasn't that much.
But that's,
It wasn't that much under when.
but I
when that
appreciate
tenant started
you
moving in.
coming up. Yeah, I
It
appreciate you
wasn't that
coming
much under,
up.
but
I
you
appreciate
also
you coming
can't
up, Mrs.
unreasonably
Saletti.
raise the rent.
And it's good to see you because we haven't seen you in a minute. So,
I know.
thank you.
I'm a little tied up.
Yeah, we know.
Thank you.
All righty. Moving on to our committee reports. Again, I go back to Public Facilities and Infrastructure, Counselor Beth Ann M. Johnson.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, so our first item would be the building code official report and then the engineer's report. So I'm gonna refer over to Mr. Rania. Update.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Under the building inspector report for the month of February, 9 building permits were reviewed and 9 were issued. using occupancy certificates. 2 properties were inspected, 2 certificates were issued, and 3 contract installations were issued. Under the engineer report, a copy is provided. I believe the only thing really worth mentioning comes up under number 3. And can we continue with that?
Yeah, you can go.
Just the only information on 2024 road program is that the bids are set to be received on March 21st. And that's a joint project with Rutland Borough. That'll be done online through the site called Bid. So we'll have those bid tabulations for council considering next month's meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? Okay. All right, then the ARPA PA Small Water and Sewer High Priority Reduction Project, 250K. I will start over to Bill. Mr. Stewart.
Yeah, this is a project that's being sponsored through DCEG. What has occurred thus far is basically we've received the electronic documents. President Miller and myself have had an opportunity to sign the documents, and now we're just waiting for them to give us the notice to proceed so that we can begin preparing contract documents, which will be done through Catania Engineering.
Thank you very much. And then number 5 would be the aqua contribution offer for the trench and road restoration. I guess I would refer over to you, Mr. Stewart.
Yeah, no problem. It's, there's 2 things I do on a daily basis. Number 1, call Aqua, and number 2, ask Marty if the check came yet. So it is what they say in the mail. I know that the US mail system sometimes a little bit delayed. However, you know, we're waiting any day for that check to come in. And then if you want to continue on, Catania Engineering has provided me all of the information that is needed in terms of their engineering costs associated with the Country Lane Basin. So I will work with Councilor Miller and the folks over at the Eastern Delaware County Stormwater Collaborative so that we can close that grant out. And then lastly is the signal issues at Woodland Avenue and North Morton Avenue. All of our invoices to date that have been charged by Signal Services have been forwarded to SEPTA. We thank Mayor Hammock through some of her connections to be able to get us on the right desk on the first try, as opposed to sometimes meandering through the maze that we call SEPTA. And then it's just a matter of setting up a meeting. I believe SEPTA has already acknowledged that, you know, the root cause of our problem is a wire that was under the tracks that was damaged when they did the track resurfacing. I believe it was in August of last year, not June of last year. Was it August? I'm waiting for Mr. Nelson, because when did you have your summer jam? What, July?
In the July.
First week of July?
Yep,
It happened the same weekend of summer jam, so July of last year. Signal Services is on call. The police department is continuing to monitor the signal. You know, every time it does go out, we're able to kickstart it. But you know, it definitely is in the need of an upgrade of the entire intersection. The whole signal needs to be upgraded.
Well, thank you for all that. That concludes my area.
Okay, moving on to finance and administration, Council Vice President Bernice Clark Dickerson.
Good evening. Good evening.
All right, first we have up our tax collector. I don't see her. Did she supply it?
Yeah, Ms. Dickerson, unfortunately, she did not supply the DCED report. She will be getting that to me sometime this evening or first thing tomorrow morning. But on the good side of the news is that she collected just over $190,000 in the month of February for local real estate taxes.
Thank you. And Mr. Stewart, I'm referring to you again for a treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report for the pleasure of council, as you'll see all of the bank accounts listed with the beginning balances and the ending balances from February the 1st through February the 29th. We did have a leap year, so there was one extra day. On the second page is the basically the cash projection report. You know, as you can see, we did receive $191,000 in local real estate taxes. So we are slowly beginning to get into a position where we will have, we'll call it, enough cash on hand to get us to the end of the year. And that kind of goes into the reason why we're going to look out and look for municipal banking services, so that we would be able to have some local institutions compete for our business, so that we would be able to get the best rates.
Next, everybody, we have our disbursements journal. I had a chance to come on into the office and review and look through some invoices and everything. And everything seems to be fine. Anybody have any questions? For this one? Thank you.
Ms. Dickerson, one charge that I'll bring to your attention is the Sign Waves is a new vendor. It was $300. That's the cost to fabricate the William E.
Right.
Rice Way street sign.
Mhm.
I did get confirmation from Sign Waves that that sign has shipped. So I did share with Ms. Lockwood earlier today that the sign, I told her Friday, but it might be here tomorrow afternoon.
Mhm. Do you have copies for the residents so they can see what's happening?
I was gonna keep that a surprise for Saturday, the
Okay, you
23rd.
don't want it.
I like that.
I was very full mine. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. All right, our request for proposal from municipal banking. Could you, elaborate on who we sent them out to and who responded? And who's not interested in? As we
So,
talked
so
about.
far, we have not received any responses. However, I was able to take a package of, not only the 4-page letter that's in everybody's package, but we did pull all of the bank accounts, statements for 2023. We included a budget, we included the, yes. So we took that down to Chase Bank, Citizens Bank, PNC Bank, Republic Bank, who we currently have our funds with, Santander, Sharon, and Wismas. I was able to speak with the government affairs person for each one of those institutions. Surprising enough, we did get a response back from Sharon Bank. And Sharon Bank's response is that they are no longer writing municipal customers. So I did find that interesting. However, Wismas has reached out a couple different times to look for some questions and clarifications. But the proposals are due on 4/5. And then I'll put together a table of comparison for council to choose. And on 4/10, we should be able to make a decision of where we're going to go with our money.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Mhm. I just want to remind everybody that our local real estate tax discount period ends. Will expire on 3/31/24. So if you're able to get it in before the discount ends. Our sewer, our first quarter refuse sewer and trash. Face value expires again, same, 3/31/24.
One small thing, so it's 318 for the face value on the sewer, and I'll make sure that's corrected in the file. notes.
318. Thank you. Then I have one more thing
Yeah.
to address.
Right.
Oh, we have the hiring update for our public works assistant, facilities person. The deadline to apply is 3/22/24. It's been posted, it's been put in spirit paper. And hopefully we get some good candidates. And it's hanging as we see up on the board.
We also have that on Indeed. The job posting board, Indeed.
Yeah. We're gonna, then I'm gonna go on with my report. I'm gonna ask, who passed Brown. I have to respond to something again. And I want to do it even though the person's not here, but I think the other residents of Morton Borough need to hear it. And anybody who's in that group to understand what's going on. I received another email from Mr. Borland, and it was directed to me and, our president, Ms. Miller. So, I'm addressing it tonight. As I said, I don't play games. I won't address anything through email. This is my second response to Mr. Borland. And I'm gonna just say the community, but there's gonna be things that's gonna highlight things that he talked about. As I addressed the email, the president I received on February 29th at 10:30 a.m. Again, Mr. Borland, I thank you, and I hope you're online, for the email you sent calling for a truce. I want to make it clear that neither I nor any member of this present council are at war with any other member or resident. I'm sorry you see it that way, because we all, council, intend to do is be transparent and keep the community informed by stating the facts on what's going on in this borough. First, I would like to address what was stated in your email, that I shouted innuendos pretty well, and most of my answers were satisfactory to you. Again, let's make it clear. I don't deal in innuendos. I take time, I research, I review, and sometimes research again to provide the facts and answers needed in which you inform this council. But it's clearly really directed at 3 new members to be ready at the next council meeting, because you are bringing a group that will entitle you 18 minutes in whole to demand answers from us, and we better be ready. Again, that was your innuendo. I don't deal in innuendos. Again, I take the work, and I'm sure the other council members, all of us, take it seriously and diligent work to do the business of this borough. I don't shout, I'm a loud talker. I am a strong, confident woman who knows my job, and I take it very serious. So if you felt I was shouting, I'm sorry. Maybe it was because Mike was on and it got a little louder. But I want everybody to understand and hear what's happening here today. Again, the Borough Council President and the Mayor, Borough Manager, and I are aware of the upcoming FOP contract. That was the second detail you talked about in your email. We know that we need to be ready for the negotiations that's going to be coming to us, and be ready for anything that might happen during that time. I have been involved in several various negotiations through educational and labor, and as a trustee, as a member of Delaware County Community College. And believe me, they're not easy. And I want you to understand, this ain't my first rodeo. I'm ready, and I'm sure we all will be at that time. As the position of treasurer, we informed the residents that we were looking to fill this position upon the resignation of the previous treasurer. And if anybody does not know at this time, she did pass away. So just to inform you of that. And I didn't want the position to go up on the website at this time because of that reason. We're passing away so closely with her family and everything. So we are planning to then fill the position. All right, his concern, he quoted that at this point, his guess is that all account reconciliations are 2 to 3 months behind, and this will not please our auditor. I assure you, we are not 1 month behind, let alone 3 months behind. Our balances and checks concerning reconciliations are in place. We are diligently working at that and continue. I am coming in here weekly, sometimes twice weekly, to make sure this is working. I'm meeting constantly with the borough secretary, the borough manager, our auditor, Ron, and Brinkers, our associate there, Lauren, to ensure that we have no problems coming up. And in fact, I met with our auditor and he was here again today. So I want him to understand that we are handling our business as we need to. But I would like to relate to Mr. Borland, and not only Mr. Borland, the previous council from last year and the year before. All right. In speaking with our auditor and meeting with him on several occasions, I found that he had expressed concerns for the last 2 years to Mr. Borland over the lack of internal and external controls and management. Again, clearly, he stated this has been going on since the resignation of our past borough manager, Mr. Pools, and he expressed concern about that. So let me be extremely clear, our order is very happy with this present council because he feels that we're taking the steps needed to move in the right directions. But he is not happy with the past council. And he stated it's going to be reflected in the audit because there's things that should have been done that was not and are missing, that he's been asking for a while. So we need to be aware of that. When that audit comes out, it won't be a reflection of this council, it's past council. As mentioned at the previous council meeting, all staff are presently being evaluated on their job duties, and if they are able to carry them out. I've been holding weekly meetings and following up in writing with various staff persons. Staff will be required now to provide me with weekly timesheets that I will sign off on. Staff will be required to help me understand their hours. I will be looking diligently into all hours as we go through this. I know this will be a hard transition and growing pains are to be expected. But providing oversight for the office along with our borough president until the issues we found are rectified. All invoices, contracts, and purchase expenditures will need to be cleared by me and the borough president until further notice. Mr. Borland, your statement to us that it is not clear concerning hiring a treasurer. The only major qualification for the role of the treasurer is the ability to balance the checkbook. I tell you, sir, and I tell our residents today, he was wrong. The qualifications for treasurers are very clear. Here they are. The borough treasurer is an appointed position by the council. They are to keep the books and preserve records. The treasurer is to receive and deposit all revenues and pay expenses as directed by the council. The treasurer is required by municipal borough code to be bonded. So it's not just balancing a checkbook. So I say to Mr. Borland and to our residents, the treasurer, again, is not just being able to balance their checkbook. I would also like to enlighten you that the borough treasurer may also serve as secretary, manager, open records officer, police chief, and staff to boards and commissions. Therefore, I assure you that we are well covered. To you and any other resident who shares Mr. Borland's concerns, we are on top of this, and we assure you that the only most qualified and bonded individual will be hired. That concludes my report, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And just to make sure everyone is clear, this is just us being completely transparent to our residents and business owners. Myself, Bernice, and Beth Ann, we were just sworn in. I feel like I have to keep reminding you all of this. The 2nd of January. And from then, we literally have just been taunted and just harassed off of things that we didn't do. But we decided to come in and make changes. And to be quite honest with you, clean up the mess. Okay, we're here for the people and the borough. Okay, I stand here and I look out to you guys, everybody, there's normal faces every second and last Wednesday. And then we have a couple people that come in, voice their concerns. We are here for you. We are here for ourselves as well. There's nothing that we need to do to fight against you, because we too are residents. Okay? To be honest with you, I'm a little like shocked. I'm not surprised. I kind of knew what we were walking into, but I'm shocked. I'm shocked to say the least. And that's okay. I'm a pretty strong woman myself, and I'm not intimidated by anyone. I feel like the worst that has happened to me has happened. So therefore, when I'm fighting for myself, I'm fighting for you as well. And things that we do are for the residents of Morton. So this is just to really let you know where we're coming from. We have a job to do. And it's at the end of the day, a volunteer opportunity that we decided to take on. Okay, we do. Let me know, because I work. Okay, but that's okay, because but just understand, but thank you, but understand, coming here to cause a problem is for what? You don't even know us. We haven't even started yet. So you come, it's not a problem, but we have a meet and greet that you can come to get to know us at, okay? That's all I have to say. But understand where we're coming from. We just got here. And to say you don't know us, know that I was born and raised here. And where I'm from was the community. Anything outside of that, your neighbors. We're gonna move on. The public safety, which is myself. I'm gonna look to you, Chief Lawless, for the police report. Thank you.
Thank you. The police report for the March council meeting. Since our last meeting in February, the police department's had following activity, which included 4 Part 1 crimes. Of note, there was an attempted theft of motor vehicle and a mischief to a vehicle on the same night on Highland Ave. The vehicles were Kias, and I believe they were chosen because of the social media TikTok vehicle theft challenge. Vehicle owners were offered wheel locks for prevention. And we're also going to put out a social media message encouraging residents who own Kias or Hondas to obtain a free wheel locks from the police department. We have an inventory of those here at the department. There was domestic violence arrest. It was not a prior incident, so there was no prevention we could have done to try and assist with mitigating that from happening again. However, the information for the incident was shared with DAP, which is the Domestic Abuse Project in Delaware County, so they can support the victims through the court process and connect the victim with any additional needed services. Of note, officers conducted 195 building checks this past month. This is an 87% increase over the 106 building checks conducted in the first 6 weeks of the year. Much of the increase is due to the increased engagements inside polls. We're getting a lot of good feedback from the employees as well as shoppers there, expressing their gratitude for our presence. And the staff there feel that it is a deterrent to crime that had occurred in the past. Also last week was Read Across America Week, and myself and Officer Collier participated by reading several classes of preschools students at the Step-by-Step Learning Center, as well as multiple classes at the Springfield Literacy Center. And that is my report, Madam President.
What did you
Thank
read to them?
I'm sorry, what's that?
What did you read to them?
I brought 2 books. One was called Owen and one was about a pig and a pancake. I let the kids pick which one they wanted me to read.
And they wanted
The pig and the
the
pancake.
pancake, yeah.
Thank you.
Chief Lawless, as an owner of a Kia myself, I will be following up with the wheel locks. I did, in case anybody doesn't know, Kia has offered to have, if you do have one of these models, you can go back and get it serviced. There's really no way to tell if it's been done or not. I don't know. They said there was a software thing update, but for all I know, it went in there for 8 hours and came back. So I will definitely reach out to you after meeting and see if I can get one of those wheel locks. Is it like the old kind, like, you know, they had in the 80s, like
It's just like the club. And
Club,
what
okay.
I would say is that, yes, they are offering the upgrade to help prevent that crime from happening. But the actor is not going to know if he got the upgrade. They're going to come up and they're going to break into the car either way.
Exactly.
If they see the club, the wheel lock, then that could be a deterrent and it will save our potential victims from
thousands of dollars of damage to the steering wheel and to the windows for the entry.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I believe, Borough Manager, you do have the fire report.
Yes, Madam President, fire activity for the month of February 2024. The fire company responded to 19 incidents. The company was in service for 9 hours, 30 minutes. The total number of personnel responding to those 19 incidents was 106 for personnel hours of 120 hours, 40 minutes in total. The highest response number, there was 11 firefighters that responded to an incident. The average response was 6 personnel. The incidents for February consisted of 6 building fires, 7 automatic alarms, 3 medical assists, 1 motor vehicle accident, 1 CO alarm, 1 investigation, and 11 assists to other fire companies. The company had 3 details for a total of 3 hours, 30 minutes, which is attended by 11 personnel for a total of 13 hours of personnel service. The company had 5 training drills for 12 hours, 30 minutes, which was attended by 47 members with 108 hours, 30 minutes of personnel hours. They did have a solar awareness class, and the chief, Holston, does note that there are 25 buildings or homes in Morton that do have solar panels on the roof. 6 district duty engine, 5 duty engine assignments for 20 hours, attended by 58 personnel for a total of 232 personnel hours. And the report was respectfully submitted by Donald Holston, chief of the Morton Rutledge Fire Company.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to Public Health, Sanitation, and Recycling. Councilor Michelle Roberts.
Good evening, everyone. On the agenda tonight, in the packet, if we all have it, February recycling report. And the report reads as follows. For the month of February, and I'm going to the recycling tons. An increase to 2204 from last month to 237. I know once again, it's still a struggle to get residents to come on board recycling. And I did take notice there were more people that have participated. And I feel encouraged to know that as we prepare to go into our spring and summer seasons, more people will recycle. I believe maybe because it's the winter time, most people don't put out as much, but I think people tend to do more so in the summer. Also in our packet, there's a little pamphlet in regards to backyard composting. Once again, because we are now preparing for our spring and summer season. And if you look in the packet, it gives you some advice on how to go about doing your composting. And also secondly, on our report, and I'm going to refer to the borough manager, first, the compost program offered by the Pennsylvania Resource Council. I believe tentatively that we are having a meeting date that's soon to be announced.
Yeah, I'll defer to Councilor Miller. She's active with the Eastern Delaware County Stormwater Collaborative.
Yeah, I got
I
an
think she
email.
has different, some additional details.
Yeah, I got an email this afternoon, April 17th or the 30th here in this room, if it's okay with everyone. Unless there's more people and we have to use the gym. But there'd also be about 30 barrels for people who sign up for the class that they would get for free. So we'd have to put them someplace, but they're not enormous. They're bigger than the barrels you got, I think, but they're like rectangular in shape.
All right, because April 17th is a Wednesday and April 30th is a Tuesday.
So check with Jamie and whoever and Diana and see what dates work for them. And
Will that be a daytime meeting or is it going to be?
it'd be in the evening, 6:30 to 7:30.
Okay.
If that's, I don't
That's
know where it'd be a
more doable.
problem for the building.
What you said, 6:30 to what?
7:30.
7:30.
So we do.
And
4:30.
they do, I haven't seen them do the composting program, but
We'll have a meeting.
their
We will.
rain barrel program, they're really good. It's really interesting. And they know their stuff. So anybody who's interested in this, you will learn more than you ever wanted to know. And you get a free composting container.
Yeah, 24th, you were there, so, right? That's usual.
Yeah, so it's a Tuesday, right?
Right.
All right, cool.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
Alright.
Okay, all right.
so we'll know tomorrow and then check either their website or we can put something up on the board and whatever.
Right, and also from our state representative Jennifer O'Mara, on April 27th from 9 to 12 at the Springfield Mall, they will have a shredding event as well as an e-waste to be collected as well. I don't know if there, most likely there will be a fee. I will hopefully get more information, but once again, it's April 27th from 9 to 12 at the Springfield Mall, your shredding event and an e-waste collection.
Okay, law ordinance, Councilor Michelle Miller.
First of all, today is Pennsylvania's birthday. In 1681, King Charles II gave the land of Pennsylvania to William Penn. So happy birthday, Pennsylvania. Secondly, everybody on council is bonded, as are the office people. I mean, it's bonding is of course something that's happened that as mentioned earlier about the treasurer. I think it really with the one thing about the treasurer position, you don't need to be a CPA. It's somebody who has some bookkeeping knowledge and experience. I think that's part of what the misunderstanding was between the parties about discussing that.
No, there were no
It's just-
misunderstandings.
The Law and Ordinance Committee has not had a chance to meet because the dates were given out without asking the chair what was good for her. And so the first date is not till May, which is a problem with the way it's set up now. So we can discuss this stuff tonight to a slight point, but the committee hasn't met and I don't know when we're going to do that. So I'd like to take care of these matters. So maybe we're gonna have to set up another meeting date on it, preferably a Tuesday. So Silver Lake, go there first. Chief. My understanding is that the residents of the HOA, they've taken care of their commercial parking issues. And then that just leaves us with the actual Silver Lake street parking issue.
I was told by the president of their association that commercial vehicles can park in their parking lots, which is what I encouraged her to put out to the membership via email or however she contacts the membership. In the interim, because a group of people had come to a council meeting looking for assistance in resolving the parking issues, we're instituting a moratorium on actually issuing tickets over there right now, because I'd much rather the association work with councils to get it worked out for the residents. That way it's done in a fair and appropriate manner.
Right, I agree. And then we got the Wawa employees too, which is a whole separate.
That's a whole separate
Yeah.
matter that I find it difficult to work in there that this business can park their cars there, but what about the business across the street? So I did talk to them about ultimately they may end up having to park in their own parking lot, and their customers can just park on the street because their customers are in and out the door in 15 minutes anyway. But they're aware that it's being worked out also.
Yeah, okay, thank you. The update of the permits and fees costs, I think we've already gone over that this evening. Unless there's someone at the main table via the chief, Marty, Phil, Charles, have anything to add to the discussion that happened earlier? I mean, you are referring to the UNOs and everything, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And if anyone on council has any questions about those comments? Country Lane, I have not heard from the post office, however, I researched as promised. I looked up and saw their restrictions, and if your mailbox is on a pole, as they all are over there, on the duplexes, well, out on the whole street, they're not going to get out of the truck. So it's really complicated as to the parking situation. The buildings are owned, you have the individual homes at one end of the street, got the townhouses at the other, then you have the duplexes. And the townhouses and the duplexes are owned by some resident owners and then some owners who live out of state. So to like move the mailboxes to either a cluster box situation or attach them to their own individual buildings so that the postman would have to walk the route, that'd be a nightmare in itself. I don't really know what we can quite do with this situation. There's so many people with too many cars, and the garages are evidently too small to park some of the cars in. It's really sort of a mess. So you have any ideas, Chief?
The two suggestions I would have had would be a cluster mailbox, such as on the circle there, which, you know, some of the residents might not be happy with, because then they have to go down the street to get mail, but at least they'll then be getting them.
Right.
The other suggestion would be to continue to try and work with the post office to determine if they have a set or specific time where they're actually going to be in the area, because if they can nail that down for us, well, then we could put through ordinance, a no parking sign between set hours, then the postal delivery truck is going to deliver, and then they're out of the area, and then the people can park again. But again, my understanding and from prior administrations and currently is that the post office will not commit that they'll have the mail delivered between set times. So that option really isn't viable at this time.
Yeah, at one point in time, they were delivering their mail like after 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
On my experience where I live, I don't get mail on Saturdays, almost never. And on Monday, I get a ton of mail. So I don't know what's going on, but that's just, you know, that's just been the experience recently. Other than that, I have no problems with our local post office. It's just something I've noticed. But when you drive along there, you can see people park in front of these mailboxes, and it's the same cars over and over pretty much.
No, I'm not going to dispute that.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that stops them.
Right. Right. So, I guess we'll just keep working on it one way or the other. I just, the idea of trying to organize the cluster boxes with the owners and everything, and they don't have an HOA over there or anything to organize anything like that, I just don't quite know how it could all be done. And a lot of people wouldn't like it. So, but if they want their mail, then it's a hard thing to go over to figure out.
Agreed. I can have discussions with other people that maybe have dealt with similar incidents and try and get some suggestions, but at this time, I don't have an answer to this question.
Yeah, well, our postmaster has run into this at the previous place where he'd been, but like I said, he didn't forward me, you know, the regulation, and I haven't talked to him again, so maybe he might have some suggestions, but
Thank you.
thank you. And then lastly, we do not have, it was brought to my attention, we do not have really a dog leash law. We do for being in the parks, but not really on the public streets. So reviewing some around other municipalities, some are very, very involved, and one that was forwarded even suggested that your dog should be leashed inside a fenced yard. I don't think that's, well, I wouldn't want that, and whatever reason anybody would have that, but we actually do not have a leash law. So with a simple, hopefully with just a simple sentence added to our ordinance, of saying, you know, your dog, when it's on a sidewalk or a public street, must be leashed, something along that way. I'm sure Mr. Ewald could think something more eloquent, but that we could just get that little simple matter taken care of. And that's my suggestion, and we can take it from there. So, Mr. Saletti, I'll speak to you afterwards. With,
What you were talking about, though, the moment's loss,
well, and just I'll talk to you about it, about,
country line.
Country Lane. And unless anybody has any questions or comments, that's my report.
Okay, Community and Economic Development Counselor Doug Eager.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Before tonight's meeting, I got to attend my first CDBG meeting. The initial one a couple of weeks ago was held off, and it's the Comprehensive Plan and Zoning Ordinance. And kind of tied in with that is the TOD program, which is Transit Oriented Development. The purpose of this is to kind of rethink a lot of Morton downtown area, the business district, the way that SEPTA comes in and out of here, parking, all sorts of good stuff. I mean, it's very involved. I have a whole packet here. So it was my first foray into that, and there's a lot there. It's all good stuff. It's all, going to hopefully make Morton a lot better area to commute to be in and out of. At the moment, they're not ready to really release a lot of this to the public yet, because they're still waiting on some information and some feedback from the people that are on the board there. So we're kind of waiting on that. But in the meantime, and Mr. Catania, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a grant that we need to apply for. Is that what the motion will be for tonight that I'm gonna add? Is that for March 27th? I think we have to have something in by.
Delaware Valley Regional Planning has a transportation and community development initiative. And it's an opportunity for the borough to apply for a grant to look at some of the findings from the comprehensive plan, one of them being the transit oriented development in the downtown area around the train station. So that application is unfortunately due March 27th. We won't meet again to get that. And then what we ask to do is, if possible, have council authorize submission of that.
Yeah, so I'm going to be adding that at the end to pass that motion. Again, it's for a grant application that's due on March 27th, and we won't be meeting other than tonight and until after that. So does anybody on council have questions about what that is or what it does?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a 0% match.
Find that question. I believe it is, but
Okay, and so the next meeting for that, I think it's gonna be in 2 months, which makes it on May 8th. It'll probably be before the council meeting on that night. So it's gonna be a Wednesday, May 8th, I think. If I hear of something different, I'll let you know, but that would be 2 months from now. That would be our first meeting of the month. Again, it'll be at 6 p.m. and that's for the CDBG ordinance update. So that's all I have on that. And the next stuff is gonna be a lot of good stuff. On March 23rd, there's gonna be the Walnut Street renaming ceremony for William E. Rice Way, which is Saturday, 10 a.m. I know William Rice, okay, we all remember him, Tuskegee Airman. So it's gonna be a pretty cool event. Come on out and you can see the sign, I guess, gets put on top, and it's gonna be a lot of fun, right? There you go. Representing. So come check that out. And after that, at 12 o'clock, council is gonna hold a meet and greet with the members of council here. We're gonna be, I guess, in the gym hanging out. And if you want to come talk to us and just get to know us, feel free to stop by. Some light refreshments will be available. We can answer some questions maybe, and just kind of get to know us and have a good time with that too as well. And last on the agenda for me is the website and social media upgrades. And as we talked about earlier, there's the very last page, I believe, is the price structure. So I might lean on Mr. Stewart here a little bit.
There we go.
So Do you want to, Mr. Stewart, do you want to fill anybody in on some of the stuff that they might want to know about all these companies?
Yeah, sure, no problem. This is that, over the last couple of weeks, and I've tried to include Ms. Dickerson as much as possible to sit in on some of these, what I call dog and pony shows, with these web developers. I've narrowed it down to 4 firms. We did, reach out to a firm called Civic Plus, which is probably about 2.5 times, the cost of what, is quoted by Revise, which is the highest quote we have. So, we kind of eliminated that almost immediately.
Mhm.
But we've got 4 proposals. The first is from a local firm called Content Creativity. I think they're out in the Radnor area. They're looking at $2,000 for an initial setup cost. That's the, behind the scenes, getting the website up and running. Then what they do is they bill us on a monthly basis for upkeep, adding new content, keeping it fresh. They charge $150 for the monthly upkeep. On a format process, they're on a Wix process, which is kind of a standard, almost like a WordPress type of format. What I find most appealing with this particular firm, number one, they're local. Number 2 is we own the website. So if we decide to walk away and not do business any longer, at least we still have the website. And they do social media support. So they're tying the website in with your Facebooks and your Twitters. And I think that's something that council has a strong desire to do, just to try to get the word out as much as possible on the events that we have going on here in the municipality. The second company was Unibit. Unibit has a 0 startup. They actually will incur all the costs to get the website up and running. However, they do bill us at $119 a month. That is based on the size of the municipality. So the bigger the municipality, the higher the cost. The smaller the municipality, the smaller the cost. Their tagline is that they start out at $99 a month. We're just above that threshold of between 2,000 and 3,000 residents. So we're at $119 a month. Their format is proprietary. Basically, they own the website. So we said, okay, we're going to walk away from Unibit. They say thank you very much and take the website down. Next company is Revise. A little on the expensive side at $7,130 for a setup cost. They're a lot more extensive in terms of their rollout time. Is that most companies are saying that they could have us up and running in a 2 to 4 week period of time. Revise is 26 weeks before we would have a website up and running brand new. They also own the website. They have proprietary software. So again, if we decide to walk away, we don't own the website. And then the last would be the iron in the fire. That's Mr. William Johnson. He was here last year at some time. His setup costs are $2,000 a month. I'm sorry, $2,000 for the initial rollout of the website, and then $200 a month for the upkeep. Although I marked it as proprietary, being a local individual, I'm sure that if we said, hey, we're going to walk away, he would give us the website without a problem. However, it is on a format that is specifically coded. So unless we had somebody that talks his language, we would kind of have a difficult time updating this thing. So they're the 4 proposals we have. I know that it's a strong desire of council to get a website renewed as quick as possible. So certainly we can open up the discussion. We don't have to make a commitment this evening. However, the sooner we make a commitment, the sooner we get a website up and running.
Okay, thank you. Personally, just looking over all of these, I do some IT work during the day. I would personally, I would at least narrow it down to first and the last one. The only thing I would want to know is from Iron in the Fire again, is will we keep it? I think being able to keep the website is one of the biggest pluses of anything. Because you put so much into it and then you'd hate for it to walk away. I think anything you can control is a lot better. I do like the social media support as well. So, you know, just looking at this for face value, content creativity, looked the best to me, but, I'm open to anybody if they have any other favorites on this. If you've looked at this, if you have anything you want to add, feel free.
Mr. Eckhart, one of the things with content and creativity, they were the ones who said you get the website up within a couple of weeks.
Like that.
They were, willing to work with us on a daily basis, getting what we need done. And as I said, they agreed to go on with the social media, Facebook, they get this girl actually their own Facebook page. And put everything in format for us. So when we're looking at everybody else was saying, it's gonna take a couple of months.
Yeah.
And, you know, we wanted to get this information out there for this borough.
If I may, having done work with websites, the appeal of that, first one in that format, as you mentioned, if you go with the last one, which is proprietary, if it's owned by and you don't know how to code, you are floating in the ether, if you will. That first one means that if you hand it over, and you know this stuff, if you hand it over, it's more like a plug and chug, it's a drop in, go, and so literally we could all have a class, and if that was the thing, you know what I mean? Like, if here's your committee, this is how you put your stuff on there. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, she said she's willing to do
Yeah.
that. There's a mom and daughter team.
Yeah.
And
I
they're
mean,
willing
that
to
would
give
be-
us what we need to move forward.
Yeah, and the fact that that's up quick, and
Yeah.
it's user friendly, it'll be user friendly forever, and you know, if that ever is not theirs, it'll be user friendly for whoever else comes down the line. So that's just, having dealt with that, that's where I would go.
Madam President, one more plug, and not to twist too many arms, but the other aspect that I found interesting with content and creativity is that they also provide graphic art services. So, you know, one of the most difficult things with developing the William E. Rice sign was to find an artist who was willing to work in either a Photoshop Pro or an Illustrator and give me a vector file or an EPS file that was of quality that they would be able to produce a sign that's 18 inches high and 44 inches long that does not look pixelated at the end of the day. So, you know, luckily I was able to call a favor and get that done. However, you know, as quirky as it sounds, we've got goats coming in May. It'd be really cool, I think, if we had, you know, some type of graphic art or logo to where we've got to put it on T-shirts and, you know, so for a minimal cost, you know, it gives us that opportunity to, you know, showcase Morton Borough, and keep it local with a local graphic artist.
I wanted to add something about this.
Yeah, go.
Also, Lisa had to leave earlier. She would have been here to talk a little bit more about Mr. Rice. Just want to say that, well, I don't know if she can get online with us. Just want to say that, this is happening at 10 o'clock at, school in Walnut. And then she will have some Tuskegee Airmen here, for that. And then she's bringing them back here to the building, to do a little meet and greet for a short time. And then she's having a private lunch for them where she has only invited guests. But she is going to have these gentlemen here, and they're all like in their upper 90s. So, yeah. So, that was just one other thing. So she may have, and she's also has a short, it's on YouTube, a film about Mr. Rice. That was an interview that was done by, I think one of her Teens for Empowerment a few years ago that she's going to have running, and so on and so forth. So, so her Teens for Empowerment are the other part of this, whole thing. Anyway, just wanted to put that plug in. So
Yeah, no, thank you. I
Yeah.
apologize for not mentioning that. That slipped my mind. So thank you for bringing that to everyone's attention. Any other questions? No, I think that's it. Again, as always, anybody can reach me via email. And then I'll give you my phone number. But, yeah, reach out if you have any questions about anything with my department, with anybody else. Feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Parks and Recreation, Counselor Walter Stokes.
Good evening,
Good evening.
and if I may express my sympathy to the Neal family. My neighbor for 50 years on Walnut Street. He was a 42-year worker at Boeing. And he was a military veteran, and he passed away at 93. So I want to extend my sympathy to the family. Park and Recreation, as always, I will turn to Mr. Stewart. And he will clarify all this small words and let the public know. I noticed that Sycamore Park has been attacked and trees came down, and it looks a lot clearer because there's no leaves on them yet. But it looked like a good job, and I appreciate you reaching out and taking care of that. And then there was the one picture of the tree over in Jacobs Park. We need to maneuver ourselves over there as well to make all the parks safe. So I appreciate what you're doing, and let me know if you need me at any time.
Thank you, Counselor. It's, so, as alluded to earlier, is that Delco Greenways Round 4, gives us that opportunity to, do a reforestation of both Sycamore Woods and Jacobs Park. As the, first part of that reforestation, unfortunately lost a significant number of ash trees. During that first winter storm event that we had in February, came on with some high winds and snapped the trees right at the tops. So in order to clear the paths and give the goats a lot to eat, we were able to remove all of that down timber. The cost for that work was about $7,000. Basically, I just did a day rate with the Strobert Tree Services. They came in with their log truck. They came in with, multiple laborers. They had their chipper, they had their chipping truck, they had their dingo, and they were able, as you mentioned, to clean out a significant amount of that ground covered area that had all the down timber. So that leaves us, my math is correct, 7 minus 180, $173,000 left to spend. The goats are scheduled for the 1st of May, when everything gets ready to bloom out. They're gonna spend probably the better part of a month, maybe a month and a week, both in Sycamore Woods, and then the herd of 20 to 25 goats will be hauled up to Jacobs Park. And they'll spend, some time in Jacobs Park as well. So that should be an interesting time here in the municipality to welcome 20 or 25 new residents for a short period of time. Right now, we're looking at about 12 grand.
But all that herbicide that won't kill the bees and the butterflies and everything that won't be used, and then it would all have to be
Yeah, I was
cleaned up
thinking
after
in those
that.
terms. I was thinking in terms of Board of Residents and weed whack.
Well, if you're not allergic to poison ivy or poison oak.
The best part about the goats is it's a very natural way
Oh,
of
it's
removing
natural.
all the ground cover. All that English ivy will be gone.
There'll be leaves
All
of
the
natural
thistle will be
deposits
gone.
through the process.
All of the poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac will be gone. So with that being said, that'll set the stage for actually going in there and start doing some tree planting. And I've already reached out to Eastern Delaware County Stormwater Collaborative. They're going to assist us with starting to do some plantings this year so that we can restore the undercover with native species.
And any resident is welcome to help, including Mr. Stubbs here, is welcome to help dig holes to plant those trees. So on and so forth.
Yeah, I also like to speak on the community, being Park and Recreation Name Association. Most of the community in Jacobs Park area, they are really, really upset because council has not done anything to beautify. And if you go around to other neighborhoods, you will see the beautification over the years. So I would like to have a meeting on the 27th at 6 o'clock. And I would invite all community members to come. And if they have an idea, if they have a proposal, if they have any type of dollar value thought process, I'd appreciate if they would show up and help us, because Jacobs Park needs to really be cleaned up. It really needs, I mean, it's the history of that park. And like this time around, I got a flagpole that was rusty for 14 years, and now we got a new flagpole, but you know, it doesn't speak for a brand new, 138-year Morton celebrating their 135th year here. So we want to gather all neighbors and families to sit down and discuss how we can build a nest egg to grow this park and make it look like our children can have fun each and every day. So I'm reaching out once again to the community, those that are on Zoom, and as well. Because it's the 27th, it's a council agenda meeting at 7. I want to have Park and Recreation meeting at 6. So we can sit down and talk and get 24 in line. There's people I've been talking to, they want to have a chess tournament. They want to learn how to play chess. I want to be able to resurface the basketball court.
Yes.
I want to resurface and actually put real rims up there. I want to be able to make the rims adjustable that they can come down for children that are not as tall. So we could maybe have team members that can play, like Optimus Club. We used to play basketball in the gymnasium here. And we could drop the baskets down a little bit. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm 70 years old. I've been in this Morton community. It's time for it to change Jacobs Park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Counselors, Mr. Catania had noted at the beginning of the meeting with his engineer's report, there is a DCNR Parks and Recreation grant that's available. The deadline for the grant submission is April the 3rd. We had previously submitted a grant for Jacobs Park. We were unsuccessful, obviously, with it, but that grant, from what I can remember, included the regrading of the upper athletic field. We were replacing picnic tables and grills in the picnic area. It included the resurfacing of the basketball courts that you had previously mentioned. Certainly, we can do an upgrade of the backboards, and also the bleachers.
Yes.
Typically would have a side rail and a back fence that would prevent somebody from falling over backwards.
Yeah.
Mr. Catania and I certainly could
Mhm.
work on that
Just the best.
grant submission. We could have a draft plan.
Just have him
available
write a
to
check.
you. Yes,
Just have. Mr.
we'll have a
Catania
draft
write-
plan available to you for your meeting on the 27th. at
Appreciate it.
6 o'clock. Roll that plan out. The only issue is there is a 50% match.
Right.
So it's a $250,000 grant opportunity, which the municipality would have to come up with $125,000 match.
Right.
So, but it's,
Well, we
you're
reached
not gonna
out,
get it unless you ask.
we had reached out once before to the businesses of Morton, and we had a response of 5 businesses from Morton businesses. And I believe there's over 100 businesses within the community. So we need to reestablish a polite letter requesting something from these businesses that will help offset the dollar value. So going forward, I appreciate that, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we gonna move on to the mayor's report?
In the interest of time, I am going to do this as fast as possible. I just want to let everybody know, I know the 23rd is full of all sorts of things. The fire company is doing their breakfast with the Easter Bunny from 9 to 11 a.m. It's $10 per person for the breakfast. At 11 a.m. will be the Easter egg hunt, and that will be right here at the social field. Less of a hunt, probably more of a scramble. That is for free. So if you have children, bring them on over. They can get their Easter eggs, and it is not my fault for the amount of sugar that they eat afterwards. That's pretty much it.
There we go.
Told you, in the interest of time, we gotta go.
Mr. Borough Manager. do you have
Madam
anything
President,
more?
in the interest of time, I don't have anything additional to add other than the participation I've had during the course of the meeting.
There we go.
Great.
Just one item, we know that we have, some funding coming for traffic calming measures in the Walnut neighborhood and the Althea neighborhood. And, we want to organize a meeting with those two neighborhoods to get feedback on those proposals. So the question tonight is what nights, in the rest of March, are council available to hold that session? I guess, is there another, planning meeting coming up, or is that over?
Sorry, when's the next meeting? I wasn't.
The 27th is the next meeting, and that's the.
No,
he wants to do
steering committee.
April.
27th.
Or something.
You're talking about something different.
Okay.
I was talking about the comprehensive plan meeting.
That's why.
We didn't get a date, right?
When's the next?
We need to know when
when's the
they have
next
the
No.
meeting?
Okay.
He says it's usually in 2 months, which would be May 8th on my calendar.
So I guess one option you could do
What
in
would that
order
be?
to minimize nights out is you could do it then like an hour before your next meeting on the 27th.
Already doing that.
Right, that's the parks.
Parks and
Six. Mhm.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to,
6
Have
o'clock.
them
yeah,
meet.
we're gonna,
Is that what you said?
yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna have to have that executive, meeting during that time. Unfortunately, Mr. Stubbs, but I will work with you to have a meeting so we can come together, as you mentioned, for Jacobs Park. But we gotta move that first, during that time. But you and I, we can speak and we can get that together so we can have that meeting, okay?
So you'd like to have,
Yeah. We'll do that on the 27th, yeah.
okay.
So this is the meeting about the Wawa wanting to put. The Wawa wants a traffic circle on Althea or a roundabout and
This-
the
Yeah.
speed bumps on Walnut.
This is the meeting about what and how to perform traffic calming measures in those neighborhoods.
Traffic calm. Then, yeah, that's what
March 27th.
27th is our next meeting, so we'll just meet, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam President, Mr. Solicitor, for that meeting on the 27th, would you want Mr. Federica to be there?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
reaching out to him now.
Okay.
Are we requesting residents to be there
Yes.
as well?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I just wanna
So-
make sure.
Yeah.
That'll be we're gonna need to work to invite the neighbors on those, in those neighborhoods that are directly affected.
Madam
It
President,
would be open to the public as well.
Madam President, if I might, we can go back to being, the first Wednesday in the next month, instead of the 27th. We can do our Park and Recreation meeting on the first Wednesday in the fourth month.
The third,
What's that like?
April 3rd.
April 3rd.
Don't even have a calendar.
We can do that.
Yeah, so we will,
Yeah, Counselor, the only issue with the April 3rd, that's the deadline for the grant submittal, so if you want to be
well,
presented.
sir, he can write a check.
Okay.
He just write a check.
Yeah, well, line it up for those.
Yeah, well, we'll pursue the check. We'll pursue the money, but I want to have the community to come and talk just about rebuilding and make it nice for their grandchildren. Thank you.
All right, great. All right, we're gonna move on to the action items. First, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2023, updating permit fees and inspection costs?
So move.
Do a voice vote?
Second,
Right. Yeah, all in favor? Any opposed? Great, all right. Motion to approve the disbursement journals for February 2024.
So
Second.
moved.
I will do a voice vote. Any? All in favor? Any opposed? Great. All right. Motion to approve the selection of a website development and social media company.
Which one?
To approve. For, all right, let's read off the list here. Content and creativity. That's what I'm looking for, to get approved.
So move.
They're the ones that are proprietary, yeah.
Correct.
Correct.
We'll have a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great.
Madam President, Mr. Solicitor, before you close the action items, do we need to amend the agenda, as
No.
Mr. Eager had?
It's already listed in F2.
Okay,
So, but you'd be looking for a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the, application for transit-oriented development, grant. Is that all right?
Just to answer your question before, they did the no match grant.
Okay. So, do I have a motion to approve?
Application. for
Application for the transit. All right, a voice vote.
you want to restate it, please? I'm sorry.
It's a motion to approve, the president of council signing a resolution in support of the transit-oriented development grant application.
Do I have a motion to approve? All right,
You need a
voice vote.
second.
We need a second.
Second.
Second,
Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to our upcoming meetings and events, March 23rd, 2024 at 10 a.m. We do have the unveiling of the William E. Rice Street dedication, which will take place at school in Walnut. March 23rd at 12 p.m. We do have the council meet and greet here at the Morton Borough Hall and the gym. March 27th, 2024 at 7 p.m. We do have our council agenda meeting here. And April 10th, 2024 at 7 p.m. We do have our council regular meeting. We're gonna move on to open discussion. It looks like
Can I
first.
interject real quick? Just
Sure,
some
sure.
highly online asked, just to clarify about a meeting, that's why I wanted to interject. So
Yeah.
she said something about the 27th at 6 p.m. I think she was wondering what that meeting was gonna be. Is that's an executive session you said?
That's a
It's
public-
everybody?
That's a public session,
Okay,
yes.
public session, highly, if you can hear this, on the 27th at 6 p.m.
We're specifically inviting the residents of those neighborhoods, but it's open to the public.
Okay, great, thank you.
So we're not likely to start on time with this meeting.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to open discussion. Mr. Lee, it looks like you were first on the list. Borough manager, could you please set up our timer? Thank you.
Good evening, good evening. Michael Lee, 123 West Sylvan Avenue, Morton, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, United States of America. Madam President, I for one would like to know why the public is only allowed to comment on action items, not the agenda as a whole. I'd like to know why that decision was made. And I would like to know from every member of council and the mayor whether or not they agree with that. In all the years I've been attending council meetings, we were able to speak on the agenda items, whether it had anything to do with public infrastructure or the finance or public health and sanitation. Now, all of a sudden, we're restricted to action items. Why was that decision made? And does everyone agree with that? Because quite frankly, this sounds like something Russia and Red China would do. And as far as I'm concerned, they're the two most evil nations that have ever existed. Never trust a Russian, never trust a Red Chinese. But that's a discussion for another time and another forum. But I would like to know, as I said, I for one would like an explanation why that decision was made, and if every member of the council and the mayor agrees with that. Thank you for listening. Good night. May God bless all.
Mr. Lee, nothing's changed. You're still allowed an open discussion to discuss anything you want.
Then why is it there said the public comment on action items?
Because
It could say agenda, Mr. Eagle.
there's two sections, and the first section's on action items, because under the sunshine law, we're required to allow discussion on action items before we vote. And then after, and then we also provide, after the agenda is completed, the opportunity for you to address us on anything.
I don't know. All this this change was made, and I, for one, I just don't like it. So
What is the change?
at the beginning, it said public comment on agenda items. And if you don't believe me, I've got almost a year's worth of these meetings that I can bring in and prove to everyone. That's the way it was done in all the years I've been here at council. Now the sun is just restricted action. That's a change. That's a change.
We'll change the board for you. Nothing's changed.
Not just for me, but for everybody.
Everybody, yeah, I get it. It's okay. We'll change the wording for you. It's just the wording of the board. Trust me, we didn't change. Mr. Hefner? I'm okay with it.
Bill Hefner, 571 South Old Middletown Road, Media, PA. I have several questions, so what I'm going to do is ask the questions, because I don't want to eat up my time waiting for answers. And then we can talk about it afterwards. First question, did we ever get the 990 form from the fire company?
Nope.
Okay, in the expenses, we had 2021 Ford Explorer, we wrote a check for $12,700. There's also a celebrations expense for $750. I was curious what that was for. The next question I have is on the hometown hero banner schedule. Do we have an estimated cost of what it will take to put it up and take it down? Because I don't think last year they even thought about the cost of putting the banners up and taking them down. Also, we were talking about recycling. In business, I don't think there is recycling for us. I was using a paper company. They haven't shown up in several months. I throw away roughly about 16 yards every week of cardboard and paper. And I was just wondering if there was another option for us as a business. Brinker Simpson, have we put an ad together looking for a replacement? Because again, that was a thought last year, and I don't know what the plan is now, but continue to run the QuickBooks program and to see what's happening with that. Another item would be the parking meters that was discussed at the fire meeting, but I don't think any decision was made whether we should replace them or not. There was a comment about batteries being put in. and they want. I don't know what the status is. I'd like to hear something either this meeting or next meeting if it's possible. Also, I'd like to know, is there a date for the budget meeting? I don't have a record of that. And the final question I have is from the last meeting we had regarding the police department and the 10% healthcare that they need to pay back to the borough. According to Carl, that he was looking for a lower insurance. But even if we got a lower insurance, they still owe 10% of their health care, because I believe that's in the contract. So even if we reduce the health care, I don't understand why we would not get the 10%. Those are basically my questions.
I mean, I can very quickly say the CBA provides that they are to be provided with an option that which they wouldn't have to provide a contribution by getting a lower price plan. And we're still waiting from the insurance carrier for that option.
Well, why haven't we done that in the initial thing, just to get a lower carrier plan to save the borough money?
Because the CBA requires us to carry a certain plan level and then have this other option, but we never had anyone who qualified for that other option.
So once we do, if we are fortunate to find a lower, cheaper plan, would they be obligated to pick up the 10% difference prior to that change?
They will be
Because we have
obligated
pay
to
a higher
choose
price?
between the lower price plan or the higher price plan with a contribution.
I'm sorry.
They will either choose the lower price plan or they'll choose the higher price plan with the 10% contribution.
So if they choose a higher price plan, the 10% option, then since they've had it for, several months, they would be then obligated to reimburse us for that, correct?
We don't have the lower price one yet,
So
so
but if we got the lower price plan, and then you had a higher price plan at the same time, then you opt for the higher price plan because maybe they prefer the options. Would then the officers be required to pay the 10% from that point and going back since they are?
not going back from the point that they make that election.
Okay. All right, so I have some other questions. I was just curious if there were any answers available.
You had a question in regards to your paper.
Paper recycling, yes,
Okay.
and what other businesses can recycle, because we don't know who to go to.
Okay, because once again, I know the VFW, they took away their containers for the
So
paper
that
as
was the
well.
same company.
Right.
They showed up normally every other week, and it became once a month, then once every 6 weeks, and then people are leaving their cardboard all around the VFW dumpsters. So I'm in the MVET dumpsters, and they pulled them out because MVETs was discussing with picking up all the
Right.
cardboard. We have 3 dumpsters, and they've been closed for about maybe 2 months now. And I've been unable to get a hold of the company.
Okay, but who do you use for your trash? So is that a separate company that
Waste
you use?
management, yes,
Okay,
And
so
do
they don't offer anything for that?
they probably do, but I was looking at the price,
Okay,
because the other was no charge, because it was all being recycled.
okay.
Yeah, the DCIU also has those same paper,
They have a paper
containers
retriever
at the
dumpsters.
far west end. I haven't gone by there lately. I don't know if Marty lives right across the street from DCIU. Have they emptied their paper containers that you've noticed?
I haven't seen them lately, but they do that, they still have time.
Mhm.
You know, because they're always full.
Right.
I'll swing by and say it's the same company,
It
Okay.
is. It's the same company.
and maybe I can get.
Maybe,
phone numbers
right.
of the people with DCIU and say.
There's
Be
a
able to
possible,
use it there,
Dumpster.
right.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I thought he was finished. We were just answering questions.
Oh, I do have one more question regarding the packet for the banks.
No,
I have a bank that I think may be useful. If you still want, if you can email the packet, I can forward it to them to see if they have issues before the deadline. If you're interested in looking at different banks.
thank you, Mr. Hefner. I did get down all your questions, so we will make sure we have some adequate answers for you for the next meeting, but your time was up. We kind of let you speak a little bit, just to get out what you needed.
All right.
Mr. Nelson, it looks like you're next.
Pardon?
It's someone else's turn now.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
fine.
Yeah.
So I'll be looking forward to the. answer.
Absolutely.
Would that be the
Absolutely,
agenda
yep.
part, or?
Say it again.
Would that be in the agenda part of the meeting, the next meeting, for the answers?
Whenever, there's no change. There's no change. So you'll get your, yeah,
Right.
Do I put my name in the top or the bottom?
wherever you choose.
Okay.
Madam President, would you like me to address some of those questions, or you just want to wait till we?
No.
Peace, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening.
I don't know where to start, 'cause it's a lengthy time. But my name is Chris Nelson. I'm from Morton, PA. Born in Philadelphia, raised here in Morton, PA. I live on 1011 Keaton Avenue, by Wawa. The first year of Summer Jam, I was working with Mr. Stubbs. And also my band, Yellow Summer Restoration Band. We did eventually together to help raise funds for the park and the park community. I wanted to do something special, something different, in the absence of the 4th of July, even though that's still a thing. I'm from this community, and I was raised here. I was raised by the stock. My president, my grandfather was his predecessor, your predecessor. And there was things here, and we talked about a lot of things about the community and doing things for the community. I was raised here. I do music, and I travel around the world to Africa twice now, and I travel to California. And I wanted to bring back what I learned here to my community. And I asked everybody who wants to be a sponsor. I gave everybody a sponsorship letter, and also the cost of the festival. I'm not asking for everybody to take care of everything. Is whatever you guys can help contribute to the cost, because I want to bring the best to this community. I believe and previous council said, last year, I think big. The reason why I think big is because I came from a big small town, and I was raised by a former president of this community, who's not here anymore. We made transition on April 20th of 2012. And another note on that, besides the festival, I'm going to do a special 1 year birthday for my grandfather, Reverend Battle, on December the 7th, Saturday. His born day, which is Reverend Battle Day, is going to be on that weekend of his born day. I would like to bring back the 2nd annual Our Time Community Festival in his honor. I'd like to ask past presidents and past council members from his time in office, and also previous times up to them from 2012 and beyond, of course current, and also all of Morton, PA, to come out and support. That's going to be by the end of the year. And so he would have been 100 years old. So I'm asking everybody to get involved to come out and have a good time. So that's another thing I wanted to say last time. But yes, I'm asking for support. I like to, whatever else I will be at the meeting for Mr. Stubbs. That's support for Parks and Rec, because I came to you very beginning 2 years ago.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry, very nervous.
You all right? You got it. It's all good.
To get that out, because I love this community, and it's about one.
I actually do not know what that name is above Mr. Saletti. Mario.
Mario Smito, 46 South Morton Avenue. First thing on the the traffic signal malfunctioning at the central intersection. This is a bigger issue than I realized, because none of the hours are working when the train is there, so that the turns you can make on the hour, nobody can make them. And everybody from around here is honking at people that don't know, that are following what they think is the law, because they know that there should be an arrow. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a safety issue. And honestly, knowing with bitter experience how SEPTA is, Bill, I know you've reached out, but this has to be, I think, Chief, I know you're very busy getting your feet wet, but I think SEPTA will react if this comes as a summoning to a meeting from the man with the badge as a safety issue, to the relevant, the chief engineer or their designee, and not, just it going through the usual bureaucratic channels, because otherwise it's gonna drag on for months and months, and it's already, aside from safety, it's already exacerbating what is a totally untenable traffic situation there during rush hour, so you gotta get SEPTA, it's my,
Yesterday I had an error.
it's my time.
I'm just telling you, it worked.
So, yeah, I think, it's gotta be dealt with, because they're gonna let it drag out forever. We're not the squeaky wheel. And, people are getting frustrated with that. Anyway, on transparency, to be totally transparent, well, first, let me say, and I'm guilty of doing the same thing to your predecessor and probably to myself, but I don't lack for sarcasm when, if anybody that knows me knows that, and if anybody thought I was serious when I said, that's why they get paid the big bucks, they do not get paid the big bucks. It's a hard job with minimal compensation and a lot of grief. But transparency, what I want to say is, I was pretty, and others I've talked to were pretty astounded and found it extremely presumptuous that, having only gone to a few council meetings before this, you presume to be able to fulfill this role, and, you came in and did some eyebrow raising things with adding, making major changes in compensation without understanding the history. Mrs. Roberts has been here for 14 years. She knows the bitter and sometimes ugly saga that has led up to where we're at now. Same thing on, the need for additional positions, having come in and just, taking somebody's whispering in the ear and, running with that. So if you want to deal with the skepticism, yeah, it's there, you're right. And it's a shame that it's so soon, but you're in the role, you've got to, deal with that. So that's where we're at.
Thank you. I don't mind, Mr. Saletti, but I don't mind responding to that. You're absolutely right, and I get that. But at least I feel comfortable enough to say that everything that myself and Vice President Dickerson and Counselor Johnson are doing will come out. You will see. I don't, oh, no, it definitely will, trust, but trust the process, as they say. I can accept that. I don't have a problem with that, but just trust the process.
And understand.
And understand.
And we understand the history. That's why we've been looking at everything.
Correct.
I've been on the board before, and I understand the history. And again, people whisper in their ears, that's been done all along.
Yeah.
We came in fairly, looking at everything, looking with this word. And there is a lot of things that will be coming out.
Yes, but you
And
do
thank
it in an informed way and not just.
We do it for you.
Well, we haven't been long enough to inform you. So we're informing you as we.
No,
come
that's
along.
not what I'm saying. I'm saying you need to inform yourselves about things that you have no way of knowing these long and sometimes deep histories of,
Okay.
except for.
You're not gonna-
Dickerson's-
It's okay. All right, Mr. Saletti.
Yes, I'm still Michael Soletti, and I still live in 701 Country. Revisiting the UNO, is it possible to change the frequency of the landlord UNO when the tenant moves out, much like when the homeowner sells their no rental property? Because we get banked every year. And once again, I've been given constant compliments by the inspectors about the state of my property. And if I got a tenant there for 5 years, why am I paying for UNO every year? In fact, this tenant's going on 6.
So,
And I'm sure it's gonna be 4 and 2. I'm sure it's gonna be another 6 because our kid's gonna be here all the way through high school. She's a single mother. That's why she moved here, so she could have her child in a good school district, which she does in Springfield. So I'm sure she'll be my tenant till he graduates.
so I understand that you have a great tenant and that you're a great landlord. But it's a public health and safety regulation. There are other landlords who may not be as responsible as you, and we have to treat all
Well,
landlords
that's for
the same.
sure. We're not all the same. You're right there.
Yeah, and, so ultimately, this is a policy decision that was made by
All right,
council.
so
a
we got
long
more
time
time than I wanted on this. So I only have less than 2 minutes. Country Lane. When I bought that place in 2007, there were signs on the street no street parking until after 3 p.m. Why did that fall apart? Because the mail wasn't getting delivered by 3 p.m. and the residents complained that they couldn't park even after 3 p.m. because, quite frankly, they're instructed, if you have a driving route, you can't get out of that truck. If you get out of that truck and you get hurt, you're on your own. You can't get out of that truck if you're a mail carrier and you have a driver. So that's a fact that maybe you did or didn't know. And then the last thing I want to bring up in my minute and something left is July 12th, last year, previous council, but 4 of those members are still here. I brought Mr. John D'Amico, who's also a Morton resident on Country Lane, and we talked about the gutter curbs being ruined by utility companies, and the onus is put on the property owner to fix that. And listen, I don't have any other property anywhere else in Morton, but I'd be willing to bet that there's regular curbs and sidewalks that are damaged because they still do the same technique. They start in the street, they tunnel under, and there's no way they can pack everything perfectly to get that to be solid. So eventually it collapses and it cracks. I want to know when the council's going to do something about that, because everybody that night agreed that it was horribly unfair.
And when that was brought up that night, it was, questions were answered and I didn't get asked and I didn't get answers from the people that should know about such things.
Yeah, I don't know how this works, but I would think that you, council, whoever's council at the time, gave that
Engineering.
what they wanted done.
Yeah.
Now you have new information, and I'm going to ask you to
Thank
tell me
you
you want
for
something
your
different
time.
done. Thank you.
It looks like Esther's next.
We'll go back to that again.
So you gotta let me know when the timer starts. Since I can't see.
Timer is started.
Oh, okay. My name is Esther. I live on 18 Walnut Street. And I am an activist, for the blind and, disability community. I want to talk about, the website that you guys mentioned. I want to make sure that that website is going to be accessible, especially since we had, we went to Washington. Well, the National Federation of the Blind went to Washington for the Washington seminar, and we have 25 senates that are going to be working on our accessibility bills. I don't want Morton to be out, not knowing the information. I'm going to be working with Jennifer O'Meara on, a lot of things with accessibility, dealing with disability communities. Also about safety with roads. I think it's with that company that has the kitchen on Walnut Street that parks on the sidewalks that prevents, like myself, traveling with a cane where I have to go into the street in order for me to travel around and walk on the pavement again. That's a safety issue, especially if a person who's in a wheelchair that is going on the pavement, they can't feel the curves to get off of that curve line to get in the street. That is dangerous. Even with the traffic lights that you guys mentioned, that's a concern for people with disabilities. So I would definitely want to meet with whoever on the council board to talk more about disability plans. Since I'm working with Washington and the state rep, you do want to be sued for these things.
That's for 1 minute.
That's it.
Esther, I'm sorry, real quick, you said there was a business where? I'm sorry.
I think they do kitchen supplies or
North
something
Walnut.
on Walnut Street with school.
The chief has heard some complaints about that.
Yes,
I'm
Yeah.
I'm not aware of the business. That's why I'm asking.
yeah, they park trucks and cars on the pavement, and I have to use my cane to fill the curb to get out. in the street.
Yeah, okay,
That's a
okay,
safety issue.
gotcha. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Madam President, like briefly, just to let you know, this was brought to my attention, last week. And I did go speak to, maybe 2 weeks ago, I did go speak with the proprietor. They were gonna work on trying to make alternative arrangements to use their vehicles, but if not, I told them that we were gonna have to start enforcing.
Sure. Thank you.
And I definitely want to hear back from somebody, because again, when it comes out of accessibility, you guys don't want to use it.
Absolutely.
Good girl.
And an advocate right here on council who's constantly pushing, make sure it's accessible, make sure information is ready for the blind.
Yeah.
You have to phone me. Yes.
Well, Madam President and Ms. Nickerson, as you may recall during the interview, the phone interview we had with Content Creativity, is that she did express that it is an accessible site.
There you go. Motion to adjourn.
All right, are we good? All right. Motion to adjourn?
Yep, there's something out there.
Oh, did you put yourself on the board? Okay, then you, unfortunately, you won't be able to speak though.
I'll run it up there, but every time I've been around these conferences.
Well, we're in an open meeting, so if you want to speak, definitely grab your name, put on the board real quick, and we can do what we need to do.
Mhm.
All right, is that Adrian? All right,
I have a dual PFA.
hold on 1 second.
Madam President, before you let Mr. Lloyd speak, I do believe that he's going to be speaking on something that is more of a civil matter as opposed to a matter that would be
Personal.
something that the council body would be taking action on. So I just provide you a little bit of caution that we may want to talk to the solicitor.
Okay, yeah, let me ask, is it more of a civil?
No, this one's actually with a court order that they want enforced.
Okay, so yeah, that. we would
I
not-
literally got a legal court order to get my children's effects.
Yeah, so that's a civil issue, unfortunately.
Can't get nothing.
Unfortunately, it
This
is.
My ninth time being put out my house by that same police department.
But understand, this is not something that,
I understand.
yeah,
Who
so,
I go to about the police when the chief won't hear you, I go to the district attorney, they won't hear you, I'm mentally disabled, and I can't get nobody to listen to me.
all right,
I died out custody of all my children, but I can't get their clothes or effects, despite having the order taken.
okay. Again, unfortunately, it is a civil matter and it's not something that we can address at this time. Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
I thought.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Me. Meeting adjourned, motion.
So moved.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.